The other day I opened my emails and I had an email from this company. It's Atoto, and they seem to make Android head units and vehicle audio bits and bobs. Personally, I never heard of them, but they reached out and said, do you want one of our Android Auto CarPlay screen things to try out and see if you like it? I'm not going to say no, am I? They haven't paid me for this review, so I can pretty much say what I want. But having looked at previous devices like this, I'm the kind of person that would buy this. I guess I have to consider who this is actually aimed at. I mean, it's not aimed at people that already have CarPlay in their car or people that want to put a head unit in their vehicle that potentially has CarPlay. This is more for people that either don't know how to or don't want to modify their existing car. People that have brand new cars. I mean, most brand new cars now are leased, so you don't really want to go modifying them, and you probably only keep them for a couple of years, so it's not beneficial to buy a CarPlay add-on for more money. Whereas if you bought something like this, you buy it once and then you can move it from car to car. You know, you've got to replace probably the sticky stuff on the cameras, but in essence it does the same job. Or similarly, people that have maybe a classic car that don't want to start drilling into dashboards, fitting stereos where they don't belong. The beautiful thing about this is it's just got a suction cup, so if it's got a windscreen, it will fit. There's a couple of ways of getting the audio out of this thing. It's got an FM transmitter, which is going to be 9 times out of 10 the thing you use, because most vehicles have got an FM receiver. It's got a 3.5mm standard auxiliary jack that quite a few cars have got, but I found more in modern cars now. They don't seem to include them anymore. And then also it's got speakers in. So for something like a classic, as we previously said, that doesn't have a stereo, it's got the ability to make some noise. I mean, I can't comment on how loud it's going to be, but for something like sat-nav directions and a bit of background music, it's going to be more than ample. I'm going to do a quick unboxing, see what's in the box, and then I'll chuck it in probably my other half's van, because that hasn't got any CarPlay, and see what it's like. Right, what's in the box? There is some... we don't read instructions. So we've got the screen itself, and a suction mount. Power lead, which looks to be of a decent length. Oh, that's interesting. With 2 USB 3 charging ports. I'm not sure if they're USB 3 high speed or... we'll have a look in a minute. And then in these bags we've got front dash camera with a couple of meters worth of extension lead. Rear camera, I think, with another extension lead. We've got a sticky pad, and that's got some little screws in. That's not going to focus. Some little screws in. We've got the mount for the back. Oh, mount for the back of there. Let's lose the box. And we've got this bag of gubbins. Oh, cable ties. I think that's the, yeah, that's the, it comes with a remote, which is very useful, which has either got like a watch strap style, so that I guess you can put that on the steering wheel, or it's got sticky back stickers and a 2032 by the look of it. I'm not sure if that's actually in it yet, but oh, that comes off. Oh, it's already got a battery, so it's a spare battery. Perfect. And that's magnetic, so that can stick anywhere. Right, anyway. Or sticky back something. Then we've got, interesting. So that's a sticky back to smooth plastic. So I guess you can stick that on the dashboard and then use your, wherever I put it, use your suction cup to stick to that. And then we've got some other little clips to keep all the power cable tidy. the input cable for both of your cameras. So that means if you're not using the cameras, you don't have extra cableage, and also auxiliary out, I think, is that? So if we look at the back of here, yeah, so on the back of there there's camera input, there's room for a micro SD card, so I'm guessing that's for your camera recording, a little reset switch, ambient light sensor, and then where's the auxiliary hole? I'm sure we'll find that out in a minute. No, that's it. The auxiliary is there, so that's good, because a lot of vehicles have their auxiliary next to a cigarette lighter, so you don't want two cables covering from this. They all run down the same cable. That's a good idea. Right, I'm going to go into a car and loosely fit this so we can test it. I haven't decided which car I'm going to put it in yet, but we'll just test it in one of them and just prove what works. Right, we're in my other half's van because everything I own has Carplay, and this is kind of a good situation. This is completely stock. It's completely stock stereo. This is kind of as it would be if you were buying this product and installing it, and didn't particularly want to modify anything. I mean, it's all well and good. The MX-5 has got a CarPlay unit that I installed. The BMW's got a MMI box that I've also installed. The Land Rover's got an Android head unit. So this is kind of as stock as it's going to be. We've got our box of bits. I want to see how quickly I can install this. I've had a quick browse through the instructions. They're actually half decent. You find with a lot of Chinese import stuff, the instructions are completely useless, but this is actually not too bad. It's kind of obvious though. There's not that many connections, and they only go in one place. But you know, you've got to expect that some people don't know anything. Right, I'm going to start with the unit itself. So that has. I'm going to assume. No, not that one. What did we say about assumption? That's where this little doodah goes. Oh, and conveniently there is an arrow that points up, which I'm guessing it means it goes in that way. That would be obvious. No, the arrow goes in the opposite direction. Interesting. The arrow faces the opposite direction to the arrow that's on the unit. Let me just consult the manual. Oh no, that's me being an idiot. The arrow is pointing in the opposite direction. That's where we should have the instructions. Step 2, put your suction cup on. That's this little fella. Peel that off. And then, oh look at that. That goes in there. Beautiful. And we're going to plonk that up there somewhere. In fact, before we plonk it, we need to plug things in. Power cable. Now it's worth noting that this van doesn't have a auxiliary input, so we're going to be using, this has got an FM transmitter in it, which is really good, because that means if you've got a vehicle that doesn't have an auxiliary. I think they've been phasing them out for a while now, auxiliaries on cars, because it's all in favour of Bluetooth audio and that fun stuff. But if you've got an older vehicle with an auxiliary, then you're sorted. Right, so that goes in there. Beautiful. And then we will put, the camera appears to be a USB-C connection, so you can only put that in one way. So we'll put that in there, and that is it for connections on the back. And so, as I previously mentioned in the unboxing, there's a micro SD card there, but we'll find one of those later. And for now, we'll just plonk this somewhere. Gosh, that's got quite a suck on it. How do you... Ah, there you go. Unscrew the clamp. And then... That's the clamp. And then, there we go. Obviously don't install it right in front of the steering wheel, but I'm doing this for demonstration purposes. And then this end into a cigarette lighter, which is down here in the van. And in the basic sense, that's done. I'm going to plonk in the camera just temporarily. Conveniently they're labelled, so the yellow one's front has got an F on it, and the black one's got D, whatever that is. 1 minute. I'm stand corrected again. You should read the manual. Rear is F and F and G, which pair together. And then front is D and D and E, which is part of the extension. I should really start reading these more. So, E being the front. Okay, so this is G. So that's the rear. Obviously, it's the longer one. Front one's the short one. But we don't need the extensions because we're just doing them here. So yellow is rear. Okay, that makes sense. So that goes in there, and you can't, I don't think you can plug it in the wrong way around. No, there's a little notch, so you can't, that's quite good. So you can't put it the wrong way around. And because we're not permanently installing this, I'm just going to peel the lens off, but I'm not going to, it's got sticky for the dash cam. I'm not going to peel that bit off yet. And then rear camera we'll plug in here. There we go. So we've got rear and front. That's quite nice. They feel nicely made as well, these cameras. I've had a lot of Chinese stuff, and you find that some of the cameras and bits and bobs just feel a bit cheap and plastic, but this feels alright. So we've got the extensions left in the box, we don't need those. We might need a remote, but we'll see. We don't need the suction power, we don't need the spare battery, and we don't need the auxiliary cable. So I think, yeah, that's it. So we'll turn it on. Turn the radio down. It boots up straight away, which is good. And we're in. So, yeah, we can see as well. So this is the home screen I'm greeted with. It looks pretty simple. We've got brightness on the left, got all volume on the top, and then we've got audio output here. I wonder, does it actually have speakers? It's got speakers. You potentially could put it in a car that didn't even have a stereo, but I don't know yet. We'll find out. So, going back to what we said about connecting to the actual car, you've got either audio output onto line out, which we haven't got plugged in currently. You can turn that on and off. Or you can go audio output into FM. So, conveniently, my other half's FM transmitter that he normally uses is on 87.5. 87.5. Perfect. Audio is good. Date and time, I'm guessing you can set somehow. Carplay and Android Auto are blanked out so far. Let's start with the recorder. SD card. But that's not. I mean, we'll record some samples of these in a minute, but just from a quick view, that's not bad. And then we've got the rear camera. There we go. Rear camera as well. That's got quite a decent wide angle in it as well, so you can see quite a lot. Anyway, we'll come back to that because we need an SD card, but I'll show you some samples. How do I get back out? Perfect. Little thing in the corner, get back out again. So, we need to connect Bluetooth. Oh, it's sat waiting. So we'll add in, oh, it's already there, sat at the bottom. Do you want to pair? Yes, pair. Allow your contacts, yep. And then, is that it? That's it, it's done. Oh, and instantly pops up, do you want to use it with Carplay? Yes. And then we go through that waiting phase. Oh, that's Dashcam, wrong one. And there we go. That was easy. It doesn't have multi-touch. I learned this with the other Android Auto that I put in the MX-5. I went to zoom in on a map and was like, it doesn't zoom, but it's a minor niggle. That is a damn sight smoother than the one in the MX-5 though. It's as you'd expect. All the functions are there. I'm not going to play any music because I don't want to get copyrighted. It's as you'd expect. That's really nice. How do we get back out of this? The resolution's better than the one in the MX-5 as well, which is surprising considering the screen's smaller. It's smoother. It's smoother. That's impressive. But yeah, all your CarPlay apps that you would expect to be there are there. And then we get back to... we're back. We're stuck in the Dashcam. Right, so then we're back to this screen. So it's kind of like an Android head unit, but without all the bloatware that you don't need. It's found the time, so it's either synced that through my phone or it's got an inbuilt GPS. No, don't connect to my phone. Go away. Right. So yeah, it's like a simplified Android head unit. I don't even know if it's running Android. I haven't even checked, but it's irrelevant for this. It's nice and simple though. You've got... Oh, that's nice. So driver seat position, so that just flips around. It keeps on to connect to... I'm just going to turn my... put my phone into airplane mode so it stops connecting. Language, display, you can change your wallpaper, simple things. Camera, rear view guidelines. That's interesting. You can use the rear camera as a reversing camera. That's clever. DVR settings. You can set what time it loops, 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute, SD card, and it's got a G sensor in as well. And then parking mode whilst connected to AC. I'm guessing that's a battery backup. So, because obviously as soon as I turn the cigarette lighter off, it will die. But yeah, you can adjust the G sensor. That's quite nice. There's just enough. There's no extra bits you don't need. Reset, audio, mute and reverse, hands-free output. It has got speakers. You can update it if you want to. Time. Where did it get the time from? That was impressive. I wonder if it's got GPS built in. Don't know. I connected my phone and now the time works, so I'm not going to complain. But yeah, we've got local music, so Bluetooth audio, so as you'd expect Bluetooth audio. Music on my... I found some royalty-free music on YouTube, which I've now downloaded over Wi-Fi and then reconnected back to this. You can play music through it without any Bluetooth audio or... not Bluetooth audio, FM transmitter or auxiliary in. I mean, the audio quality is not the best, but what would you expect from something this small? But it's ideal if you're in maybe a classic car that doesn't have a stereo at all, and you just want audio for things like a bit of background music or sat-nav instructions. It's kind of ideal. I'm going to connect the FM transmitter now, so if we just turn that on, so now if we turn the stereo up, should be able to play it through the stereo, which we do. Perfect. So far everything's been kind of as I'd expect. It just works. Like, everything's super simple. It's got automatic brightness. When we unboxed it earlier, there's a little sensor on the back, so I imagine if you leave that on auto and then cover the back of this, it will eventually go into some sort of dimmed mode. Oh, there you go. Yeah, perfect. And then when you release it, it goes back into day mode. It's surprisingly good, this. I guess the primary function that people will buy this for is CarPlay, which just works. That's the beautiful thing about CarPlay. You don't have to faff about with it. I found that earlier on, the Android head units, you had to connect them to a Wi-Fi access point to get internet, and they kind of had local apps, and they were a bit laggy and buggy, but now most people have iPhones or Android phones that have CarPlay or Android Auto, I think it is, and that you don't need all the extra hardware. Nobody uses physical media anymore, so you don't need CD or DVD players. Everything's done through your phone. So in reality, you just need a bigger screen to show that. And it does it perfectly. It transmits the audio to the stereo. I can't see what else you'd want from this. I have to look at this in the perspective of the person that would buy it. I mean, I would potentially buy it for a classic car. I probably wouldn't buy it for something like the BMW because I can get an MOI box. But if I think about most cars now, most people don't own their cars, so they don't really want to modify them. But some people might not have CarPlay. So if you buy something like this, you can install it. You don't have to install the Dashcam section. All you need is power and then an FM receiver, which every car has. And you've got CarPlay. And then if you move from car to car, you'd literally just take this with you. It's on a suction cup. There's nothing even stuck to the dashboard. I'm going to take this for a quick drive just to see what the footage is like on the Dashcam. We're in kind of dusk at the moment, which is ideal because a lot of Dashcams I've had struggle with low light, and that's kind of the bit that you actually want to see. I mean, in daylight it's probably fine. Before we get going, I just thought I'd mention this little remote. It does the job. It's got volume. I'm guessing you can answer calls on it. Mute works. Even Siri works. Look at that. That's not bad. I mean, it's a touchscreen as well, which is good, but it means you can put it wherever you want, so happy days. I just thought I'd do a quick recording. We've got two videos here. The one being a DJI action camera, so 1080p, 60, and then the other one's the front dash cam of the CarPlay unit. So I currently can't see what the quality's like, but looking at the screen, it doesn't look too bad. Obviously we'll find out when I put this into post-production. But so far I'm impressed. Looking at the backs of the screens of the action camera and I've got the dash cam up on the unit, they look very similar. Both bright, you can see all the features. I'm going to try and find another car so I can see number plates. Because that's kind of the thing you need a dash cam for, really. I mean, it's all well and good recording the countryside, but a bit useless if you can't see the number plate of the guy that hit you. We'll have a look. Right, we're coming through a little village now, passing a few cars on the left-hand side. Hopefully we can read all the number plates. Obviously I can't see because I haven't edited this yet, but I'll add in and we'll see. Having spent some time with this thing, I'm actually impressed. I'm not just saying that because they sent it me for free. Everything it says it does, and well. The CarPlay on it is fast and smooth. I mean, what more do you need? All the functions work as you'd expect. The Dashcam records, and the quality is pretty good. The hardware also feels half decent. You find with a lot of Chinese import stuff, the plastics feel a bit crappy and horrible, whereas it actually feels like it's going to last a while. The design is actually not too bad as well, in that they've put the auxiliary out on the plug instead of out the back of the unit, so you've only got one cable running out. The cable length they give you is pretty sufficient for reversing camera, and the front camera more than ample. I mean, most people are only going to stick it in the top of their windscreen, and that's more than enough. The remote it comes with is pretty good. It's got volume, next track, previous track, answer the phone, play, pause. I mean, I can't complain. Everything is just as you'd expect. There's only a few little niggles that I can, even if I'm being picky. One, I'd like there to be a suction cup maybe on the front dash cam if we're going for completely portable. But, it's only a sticky pad. You can always replace that. This is easy to move in and out of vehicles, and the power lead, that's it. This is all you need if you want CarPlay, which is perfect. The beautiful thing about this unit is, though, you can take it from car to car. If you buy a Android head unit with CarPlay built in, that's very specific to that one car and has to stay with that car. Whereas this, you spend the money once and then you can take it with you from car to car, which is perfect for people that lease their cars, or people that move from car to car quite a lot, or people that just don't have the skill or knowledge to be able to fit something like an Android head unit. I mean, personally, I probably wouldn't buy something like this because I'm more inclined to put an Android head unit in something because I can find them cheaper and I don't mind waiting, to get them from China. But for your average car user, this is perfect. I've probably whittled on long enough about this thing, but in the description there'll be discount codes for this. I'm under no obligation to recommend this, they haven't paid me, so I can say what I want, but genuinely, I would use one of these if I had a new car or a classic car that I didn't want to put a stereo in. After this video, I'm actually going to have a look at doing rust on the MX-5. The weather's actually half decent now, so I can go outside and not freeze to death. I just thought I'd do this little video because someone sent me something for free, so who am I to say no? I'll catch you on the next one.